Hey guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to the very first episode of Bless This Nest. It's a new video series that I'm going to be doing every Thursday here at 11 a.m. on my business page. For those that don't know me, I'm Mariana Pearson. I am a real estate agent in the DFW area with Modern Nest Real Estate Group. We are powered by Keller Williams. I'm going to give you guys just a couple seconds. I know there's some of y'all that maybe wanted to join on or jump on today because today we are kicking this series off with a first-time homebuyer boot camp. So today is step one or part one of this first-time homebuyer boot camp series. And I have a lot of exciting things to share with you guys. So first of all, if you are joining us, even if this is like you're watching this in a replay, please let me know where you're coming from, where you live currently right now. I know we have a lot of people that follow this page that are all over the US, but if you're in the DFW area specifically, let us know because we'd love to know where you guys are coming and where our viewers are watching. So again, guys, we're in DFW, and I stress that because I want to remind you guys that everything that I know about real estate is Texas real estate, and even though I can point you in the right direction in other parts of the US, I really only specialize in DFW, so I know the DFW market really well, and I know Texas real estate. So everything I'm talking about today is relevant to Texas, but if there is somebody who's watching this and you are a first-time home buyer and you're hearing something that you love, and you still have questions and you're in another state or part of the US, that's okay. Still reach out to me, let me know. I actually have connections with real estate agents all over the world because Keller Williams, we are so diverse. We're literally nationwide. And so I know all sorts of agents that can help you guys if I can't help you, so just let me know. I just wanted to throw that out there just in case you hear something and you're like, I don't know what that means, and it's probably because you're not in Texas. So if homeownership is something that you have been looking to do, whether that's in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, today I'm going to be starting a first-time homebuyer boot camp, if you will, series. So I'm gearing this one towards you guys the whole month of May. We're going to be focusing on this series. So we're going to break this down into 4 different parts, 4 different videos, and really prep you guys for purchasing your first home. And even if you're not a first-time home buyer, but it's been a while since you've purchased a home, this video series is going to be for you too. So really I'm focusing on people who are currently renting, looking to get out of renting and becoming a homeowner. What are some of the things that you can be doing to preparing yourself right now for when that time comes? I feel like that's the number one question I get as a real estate agent is, hey, we're thinking about buying a house, in 6 months. What can I be doing right now to set myself up for that success? And I love helping my first-time home buyers because I geek out on being able to help them through that process. So, like I said, we have 4 videos that we're going to be doing. So every Thursday over the next month at 11 a.m., I'm going to have 4 different videos. The first one that we're going to be talking about today is prepping you for success. So we're going to talk about some of the things that you could be doing right now to really prepare you for homeownership. Then next week, we're going to be talking, the title is Getting Serious and Pre-Approved. So we're going to be talking more about the pre-approval process, loan process, all that fun stuff, right? Then we're going to be talking about, in the 3rd week, let's go house hunting. So this is I love this part. Obviously, I love going to see houses with my first-time home buyers, getting them to, tell me what they like and not like about the house. And so we're going to be talking about the house hunting process and a little more about what that actually looks like. Because it's not what we think with HGTV. I really think they kind of skew our minds on what house hunting really looks like. So I'm going to dive a little more into house hunting on that day. And then the last one is, now that you found the one, what do we do? So what are those next steps after you find the house that you want to make an offer on? What are the next steps? So those are our 4 videos that we're going to be doing over the next month. Like I said, today is really just the first steps of the home buying process or preparing for the home buying process. So we're going to talk about that today. So by the way, guys, I see a few of you are on here. So let me know who you are or where you're from. I'd love to know. And make sure you guys stay till the end. I'm going to be talking about a way that you guys can get a free guide that I created that's going to help you. It's my first time homebuyer bootcamp free guide. I posted it earlier this week, and I'll post it again and let you guys know how you can get a copy of that. So you can start answering some questions and test your knowledge on being a first-time homebuyer. So let's go ahead and talk about some things that you can do right now to prepare yourself for home ownership. So one of the first things, and I think is probably a very important thing, obviously, is checking your credit score. So that's something you can do right now. Again, whether you're 3 months away, well, if you're 3 months away, you really need to check your credit score because you're getting really close to when you're needing to actually get pre-approved and all that good stuff. But if you're 6 months, a year, or even 2 years away and you don't know really an idea of where your credit is, it's not going to hurt that you go ahead and pull your credit, see where it's at, and see what you may need to do to work on any blemishes or things that you don't even know. I can't tell you how many times a buyer says, I had no idea I had a $15 or charge that I hadn't paid and it's hurting my credit. So it could be as simple as paying that credit off or paying that debt off and it helping your credit out. Or maybe there's something a little bit bigger behind why your credit may not be where you need it to be. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about credit score. I can tell you that typically the minimum score that you need to have to be able to qualify for a loan is 580. Right now, with the pandemic and everything we have going on, we have seen lenders are raising that up a little bit. They're getting a little bit tighter on the restrictions. So 700 is kind of that sweet spot that we're seeing that you have to have in order to qualify for a loan. Again, that it just depends on the situation and the lender and all that kind of stuff. So don't take my word 100% for that. Again, I'm not going to go into too much about credit. I know it's a big question that I get a lot, but since I am not a specialist in credit, I don't want to tell you guys wrong, but I can tell you that it is super important. You need to go ahead and get it checked. And if you are concerned about your credit and think that you need to work on it, I can get you in contact. I have a great credit specialist who can help you mend your credit. He's going to work with you. A lot of times, or sometimes he's going to tell you, I wouldn't even pay that off. And I couldn't even tell you why he would tell someone that to not pay it off. In my mind, it doesn't make sense. But he's saying not to pay it off because it's not going to make enough of a difference in your credit score. Go ahead and save that money for your down payment. Again, I'm not the specialist in that, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but just let me know if credit is a concern for you guys. I want to get you connected with somebody who can help you. The second thing that you could be working on right now, again, whether you're looking for 6 months down the road, I'm trying to reconnect. Sorry guys, I think my service cut in and out, so hopefully you didn't miss too much. But the next thing you guys can do is start saving for your down payment, for your closing cost. There's going to be some miscellaneous buyer fees that you guys may or may not know about. So some of those include like your inspections, your appraisal. You do have to put in so much in prepaids for your taxes and insurance at closing. So you're not just focusing on saving up for your down payment, which typically a first-time home buyer, the minimum down payment is either 3.5% or 5%, depends on which kind of loan type you go with. We'll talk more about loans in the next video. But you do want to make sure you're saving enough for those closing costs and miscellaneous buyer fees. I will tell you, this is just kind of a little side note, as being a real estate agent, you actually don't owe when you are working with a buyer's agent, and this again is in Texas, so I don't know if this is nationwide, I'm assuming it is. In Texas, you do not actually owe or pay the buyer's agent a commission. So the way we get paid is actually from the sellers. This is something that was pre-negotiated before we even show houses or show you the house, that the listing agent is guaranteeing or putting into contract a certain percentage, and then from there they're splitting that percentage or giving a portion of that to the buyer's agent. So you as a buyer don't actually have to pay to work with a buyer's agent. So why wouldn't you, right? Like, it's free for you to use a buyer's agent and have our knowledge to help you along the way. So I did want to point that out there. Again, that's in Texas. So, and again, I think it's nationwide. I think that's like a pretty common practice. But just make sure you guys are saving for that down payment. So setting a budget, you know, I can go into so much detail about budgeting and things like that, but I won't bore you. putting together a plan. If it's just you yourself looking to buy a home, you kind of have an idea of what you make and how much you can save per month. If you are going to be buying with a spouse or somebody else, then talking to them about, hey, where can we cut some expenses to be able to put a down payment or to start saving towards a down payment and all these closing costs in homeownership. If you guys are interested in the free guide that I gave you, by the way, it does not include this, which is still a great guide. And I didn't include this intentionally because I didn't want to, I just didn't want to like put it out there publicly. I don't know. But if you guys are interested, I do have like a cheat sheet of closing cost expenses that you may not know about, just kind of like a rough estimate, if you will, of what to expect when it comes to your expenses as a home buyer. If you guys are interested in getting a copy of that, send me a message or comment below, because I will send you, just again, it's an estimate, but it just kind of gives people a peace of mind or an idea, how much is a inspection actually going to cost me. I kind of broke down the different things that you could incur in order to give you a better idea on how much to actually be saving. So let me know if you want a copy of that. The next thing you guys can be doing right now is determining your time frame. I mean, that's pretty simple, but it's such a big deal. If you are renting, you have to then put into account, when is your rent up or when is it over? You have to keep that in mind, because what I tell buyers is usually you want to start looking, or at least meeting with a real estate agent and start looking 3 to maybe 4 months, depending on how quickly things are moving, before you actually want to move into the house. So the reason I say that is if we meet 3 months before, that's time for me to really get to know what you're looking for, get you pre-qualified. Maybe we have, a little bit of things we got to work on with the finances, just really solidifying and getting serious about buying a home. Then you want about a month or so. I tell my buyers you want about a month to really just make sure you are seeing what you're liking, what's fitting your budget. So really the home search process. I mean, I have some buyers, it takes a weekend for them to find a house, and other buyers, it may take 2 months. So it just depends on, again, your search and what you're looking for and how specific you are, how quickly it can take for you to find a house. But once you do find the house and we write an offer and it gets accepted, do expect that it's going to take about 30 days before we actually close on the property. I think a lot of buyers, if they haven't purchased before, they think, okay, we wrote the offer, we do the inspections, and then, next week I'm moving into my house, getting the keys. It doesn't take that, it's not usually that quick, unless maybe you're paying cash, because with financing, you do have, where the lenders have to go through a whole process of making sure you're qualifying, you've got originations, all the things I can bore you with, and then title has to pull title and make sure all the liens are clear and all that. So we typically need about 30 days. We might be able to get it into 2 weeks at the very quickest, but about 30 days. Especially if the home is preoccupied, we got to give that homeowner time to also, if they need to find a house or they need to move out. So 30 days is a very comfortable time frame. So usually about 3 months out, start determining, or is when you want to start really getting serious. So determine that time frame now and just kind of work backwards from there. Okay, so the next thing that you guys can be doing is calculating your monthly budget. So this is going to help you understand what you can actually afford or what you're comfortable with affording in a monthly payment. So what I would do, again, not going to do a whole budget talk, but is figure out what expenses do you currently have, your car payment, your medical bills, whatever you have that is absolutely going to have to stay even when you own a home. And from there, what can you afford monthly in a monthly payment? Now, of course, what you're renting or what your rent is right now may be that budget, or maybe you can do a little over that budget. You determine what that monthly budget is. The reason I say this is a lot of people will go and get pre-qualified with a lender, and the lender will say, well, you're qualified up to, $400,000. Well, $400,000 house is probably going to be a much bigger payment than what you actually want to spend. So what I tell my first-time home buyers is find a monthly budget that works for you, a monthly payment. And when you do get to the point that you are talking to a lender, you say, here is the monthly budget or monthly payment that I want to have. What price point do I actually need to be looking at? Most people are qualified for a little bit more than what they want to actually spend. So make sure you calculate that. Your monthly payment, by the way, is going to include 4 things. So that is your principal, your interest, your taxes, and insurance. So you don't have to worry too much about calculating those things, the taxes and insurance in general, because those are going to already be included in your monthly payment. So you just have to come up with one monthly payment that works for your budget. All right, the next thing you guys can be doing right now to prepare yourself is determining your must-have features. When I say must-have, I mean these are the features that if a house does not have these features, you don't even want to go look at it. So there is a difference between must-haves and the things you want. If you're a first-time home buyer, this is a conversation I have when I sit down with my first-time home buyers, is your first home may not have everything that you want. Right? It's not going to have the nice, well, it depends. I don't know what your budget is. So I don't know you, but I'm just saying, be realistic in what you actually, what your budget is and everything else. It may not have the nice new pool that you are dreaming about. It may not be, 10 acres with a $4,000 square foot house. Again, I don't know you. If you can afford that for your first time home buying house, great, fantastic. I'm here to help you. But I also just want to make sure you guys are being realistic on what it is you must have versus what you want. So things that you must have, like how many bedrooms, how many baths do you absolutely need? What location is absolutely going to work for you? And so just determining those right now, especially if you are buying with a spouse or somebody else, figuring out what are, their must-haves and what are my must-haves, and let's come together and come up with something. So you can start talking about those now. The next thing you guys can do is become familiar with the home buying process. So by watching these videos over the next month, you kind of are already going to be doing that. So congratulations. You are going to become familiar with the whole the whole home buying process. But really, a real estate agent's job is to make sure that not only that we educate you guys on the process, because I want to always make sure that you know what you're doing and what you're signing and kind of explain the basics to you. But a realtor's job is to make sure that along the way, once one step finishes and the next step is about to happen, we're in communication and we're making sure you guys know exactly what is going on in the process. So that's the benefit to working with a real estate agent, is making sure that we're keeping you on top of your game. But if you can become familiar as much as possible and ask all the questions to your real estate agent, the better you are, because I really believe that a knowledgeable buyer is going to be the most successful buyer. All right, so one of the last things you guys can do, and this one may not be that you have to do, but that you can do to go ahead and get started and preparing yourself for your first time home buy or your first time home, is going ahead and downloading a mobile app to where you can start looking online. If you're driving by, this is great because you have a mobile app ready to go to where you can see, kind of get an idea of what the price point is, get a feel for what the houses look like inside. We actually have a free mobile app that you guys can download. So I'm going to link that up. I meant to in the post above. So you guys can download our free mobile app and start searching online. And while you're out and about, or even if you're at home and you're bored and you want to look at houses, it's a great app for you kind of to just see what's out there and all sorts of things. You can search by neighborhood, really fun stuff. So downloading a mobile app to go ahead and get kind of starting to look at homes online. So those are the things that you guys can be doing right now. I want to talk a little bit next. If you guys have questions, by the way, I feel like I see some people are still watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions. That's the purpose of me doing these lives, is to be able to give you the knowledge and the information that I want to give you, but also so you guys can comment with questions that you may have. And other people may have the exact same questions that you have, so it just kind of helps them also gain more knowledge too. So let me know if you have any questions so far. So now that you're about 3 months out, let's get forward. You're about 3 months out to when you actually want to be in your house. At this point, this is when a buyer's agent is going to meet with you for the future homeowner consultation, like I like to call it, or your buyer consultation. So during this consultation, we'll meet up. Usually I meet up for coffee with my clients. Right now, everything's kind of virtual because everything going on. We will talk a little bit more about your unique situation. Everyone is so different. All the information I'm giving you today is generic and something everybody kind of needs to focus on, but everyone's situation is so unique that really being able to sit down with you one-on-one helps us solidify a game plan that's going to help us achieve your homeownership goals together. So important that you meet with someone before you even go look at houses. That way we're both on the same page. So what are we going to talk about during this meeting? The first thing we're going to talk about is the home buying journey. So what are the steps for home buying? Again, during this video series, you're going to get a little more of that, but I like to sit down one-on-one and really just show them. I've got like a whole, I've got a whole graphic that helps me kind of explain it to where it's just a little bit easier for you to take home with you. But we're going to talk about that home buying journey and really get realistic on what it looks like. If you haven't been pre-approved yet, at that point that we are meeting, I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance about being pre-approved and also get you in contact with the lender if you haven't done so already, because really that is your first step after meeting with us to get pre-approved. Again, next week we're going to talk more about getting pre-approved, but if you haven't been pre-approved yet, by the time that we meet, we'll definitely be talking about it. Then we're going to go over the buyer questionnaire. This is just me asking and really getting to understand and know what you're looking for in your first home. So we're going to talk about those must-haves that I just mentioned and any kind of deal breakers that you guys have. If a home has that you absolutely don't want, then we just won't go see that house. So really getting an understanding of what it is you're looking for in your first home. So that way when I set you up on a search, I'm sending you properties that fit your criteria. Then we'll do a home buying Q&A. So this is just a question and answer. If you guys have questions at that time, I'll answer them for you. And I always tell my clients, even before we meet in person, if you guys ever have questions, I get texts all the time where it's just, you know, maybe a random, simple, easy real estate question. If you guys have any of those, feel free to always direct message us or whatever they call it, PM, DM me, direct message us. So that way we can answer those at any time. It doesn't have to necessarily be when we meet one-on-one, but of course come with those questions and I'm always happy to answer those. And then the last thing we'll talk about during that consultation is some homebuyer resources. So if you do need a credit specialist, if you do need a lender, if you need a moving company, whatever it is that you're needing, I'm going to provide you with all those resources that I've collected over the last 7 years. So really, I think that, so to really get you started on all this, because I know that home buying and everything that I'm talking about today can be kind of stressful. It's a lot of information. Again, that's why it's so important to work with an agent and an agent that knows, you know, what they're talking about, because our job is really to guide you through that whole time. I don't expect you to know all this, even when comes time to purchase your first home. But again, knowledge is power. So having as much knowledge as possible is great. But really to get you guys started, I did create that free guide that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. It's called the First Time Home Buyer Bootcamp Training for the Home Buying Process. So I'm gonna link up above, I'm sorry I forgot, in the post, so you guys can get a copy of that. It's gonna just have some questions like, do you have an emergency fund? Do you know your credit score? How long do you plan to be in the home? And then I'm gonna give you kind of some feedback on those questions. There's also in there a list of questions that you can ask a real estate agent. So when you go to meet with them, there's a list of questions for that. There's also a quiz to test to see your home buying knowledge. So I thought that was kind of fun. And of course, there's a starter kit for when you're ready to jump in. So again, I think the most successful home buyer is going to be the most knowledgeable buyer. So taking advantage of that free guide that we put together for you is going to really set you up for success. So thank you guys for tuning in to the very first episode of Bless This Nest. Again, the whole month of May, I will be doing this first time home buyer bootcamp series. So if you guys are interested, or I'm interested in knowing what other questions do you guys have about the home buying process that maybe I didn't answer in this video. I'm going to try to go live, or I am going to go live on my stories to answer those questions for you guys. So post them in the comments below or send me a message. And if I don't get to them in my actual video series, I will post them in my stories. So make sure you guys tune in next week. Again, the topic is going to be getting serious and getting pre-approved. We're going to talk about the pre-approval process and lending, all that fun stuff. And that is next week on Thursday at 11 a.m. We'll be doing the Bless This Nest every single week at that same time. So I will see you then. Again, let me know what questions you guys have. Have an awesome Thursday. I'll see you next week.